Hi, and welcome to Bella's Vistas. Mary, Bella, and I have been traveling North America in search of good times and great photographs. Why not follow along on our adventures? Please like and subscribe. Well, it's another great morning in Newfoundland. Look at that sunrise. What a great day. We're parked out at the Walmart. There's the Canadian Tire where I got my filter yesterday, and at the Walmart I bought the oil, so I could change my oil yesterday. Here we got some fellow campers parked up here at the parking lot. In fact, yesterday here the Walmart parking guy was talking to me for a good 10 minutes while I was making coffee in the morning. He's moved back to Newfoundland from Ontario and is having a great time, loving it here. Just look at that sky, eh? That's why I'm here. I have to remember why I'm here and what I'm here to do. Well, this morning we're going to go up on Signal Hill, but on the way we're going to stop and pick up some fresh spring water. So come on along. 650, 600. Should be anywhere right along here. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. Bug juice? Heck no. One of my all-time favorites. I return year after year to photograph the St. John's Battery from the south side of the harbor. The buildings, the boats, the juxtaposition of old and new never gets old for me. I just keep coming back for more. This city, much of it is like it was from the beginning, from 400 years ago. The boats are new. Now we take a little drive along the harbor. I've been across Canada and much of the States, and I just can never find anything that compares. The fishing, the history, it's just amazing. The city. And I remember when there were Russian boats in here, you can see the flag all over the place. Cabot Tower, now there's one of my all-time favorites. I came here first in 1973, photographing Fort Amherst, the mountains and rocks here, the harbor, the Narrows. It's just amazing. I love it here. I keep coming back. There's something magical about the city. Fort Amherst, there's some guns there. You'll see in one of my next videos coming up. It's an amazing place. It's a lighthouse. It's warning people, showing people where the harbor is. The main thing about the St. John's Harbor is the Narrows, a very small inlet so big waves don't come in and smash the ships in the harbor. It's a nice snug harbor. Cabot Tower is an old fortified location, and it's where Marconi sent his first transatlantic communications from. Well, it's a long, winding, and very steep road to the top of Signal Hill, but it's well worth the trip. Come on along. Looking over the city, I come here to photograph it in sunrise, sunset. It's a magical place. I just love it so much. St. John's is an old city. It's the oldest city in North America. There's a harbor, there's the fortifications. Here's our van parked up at the top of Signal Hill, just in front of Cabot Tower. The ships in the harbor are something to see. They're working ships, a lot of government boats, Coast Guard. There's also a lot of fishing ships here. Highliner used to sail from here many years ago. You see icebreakers. Back when I first started coming here, you'd see the hammer and sickle flying in the harbor. And there's the cathedral off in the distance. Now the Battery at night is something that I just love. Can't get enough of it, especially in the winter. Cruise ships come here now. Bella's enjoying the view from Signal Hill. I didn't set that up. She was entertaining the tourists. Now the jelly bean houses are just amazing. I mean, in the streets, the angles that the houses are built on, I don't think you'll see it anywhere else. I've never been to San Francisco. Maybe if you were in San Francisco, you might see things like that. Been to the bridge, but I never went downtown. The houses, brightly colored houses, have been built like this for many, many years. The doors and window treatments, a lot like Ireland. Fever's Lane. So much to see. What an amazing city. Mary used to come and sit here when she was a little girl at school at her aunt's place. Imagine coming out your front door and you've got like a 45-degree sidewalk with a 1/4 inch of ice on it. Here's the Battery again. I just love it. It's unbelievable. It's becoming a pretty upscale area now. There's a walk where you go along. This is the harbor again on the other side. Here's the Narrows from another view. This is when you're headed along the walk, the East Coast Walk, I think it's called. You get a very unusual views of the Narrows from this. Back in the 70s and 80s, Jim and I used to be the only guys to go out there and take pictures, as far as I know. Now people are coming from Holland and all around the world to see these views. There's Fort Amherst again. This is walking back from the trip I made to get a different view of Fort Amherst. It's quite a steep climb in a lot of places, and some of it's quite treacherous with the rocks and everything. It's very enjoyable. Fort Amherst again. Some of these things are just like they've been for many, many years. They're working fishing decks, stages. Interesting place here, a little shop. Nothing's for sale apparently. It was just for things to look at. Narrows, several different views of the Narrows. Here we're looking out to sea from the top of one of the hills. Just look at those houses. Here's the city. Now I think we're getting a little closer to sunset. Did something pretty unusual the one evening for sunset. It's going to come up soon, you'll see it. Something that I don't do all that often. And the last time I did it was in Ireland, photographing the streaks of car lights, but I did it in St. John's. Here's the sun is starting to set over the city. It's beautiful when the lights come on at night, the sky gets dark, the city starts lighting up. But what we did, we went high up on the other hill here, looking down at Cabot Tower actually, and we waited for it to get dark. And as it got dark, you start to see the trails of the cars going down the hill. I was using a very long exposure. I was at f/22 and my exposures were 30-40 seconds at 100 ASA. And you'll see the cars streaming down the hill. And I've never done this before in St. John's. It didn't even occur to me to do it, but I talked to this fellow that I met up on Signal Hill, and he said he wanted to try that, so we went up and did it. Cataracts to the Gut in Kitty Vitty, and it's a long hike out there and very, very interesting. I used to sail out of there with Jim Ring back in the day, him and his fishing boats, and we'd go out after salmon, pulling gill nets. This is their training shed where they train for the regatta. They actually won a very important medal at the regatta. There's some more of the fishing sheds, just like they were hundreds of years probably. Look at the strata and the rocks. There must have been some really cataclysmic kind of action happening when these rocks were pushed up from the bottom of the sea. Wow, and the colors, I mean, it's amazing the way the buildings are painted. Now we're getting back to Cabot Tower, another day, another sunset. Different days. The weather in St. John's changes so much. Well, all across Newfoundland they say if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes and it'll change. This was so little light for these pictures here. Just barely enough light to make them. And the moon, well, the moon, what can I say?